I want to talk to you about forming a real estate LLC, everything you need to know. So here is an overview I want you to really pay attention to. So the thing is, when we talk about a real estate LLC, you need to understand this is basically a business structure that can have a single member LLC or as many members, multi-member LLC, and that the whole business revolves around real estate. It can be renting, it can be selling, it could be anything. Okay. So the thing here is that the income generated by the real estate LLC passes through to the members who pay taxes on the income annually at the personal level. So the real estate LLC itself does not pay taxes on its income. So the LLC will actually hold its own assets and is considered a separate entity from its members. So if you listen to me right now, a real estate LLC is a company that's formed to hold, buy, sell, and rent real property. In other words, homes, apartments, corporate buildings, or rental spaces that earns a profit that is passed through to its members. So whatever profit you are making through your real estate LLC, you're going to have to pay taxes on that profit at on your personal Schedule C, Form 1040. Okay. The LLC will hold all the liability risk on behalf of the members. And so for most entrepreneurs looking to start a real estate LLC, their goal will be to protect their personal home while still investing in other real property to earn a profit, right? So the thing is, even if you haven't yet amassed a large personal wealth, starting off your investment journey by creating an LLC is a great way to prepare for the future and create built-in protection. You got to have built-in protection. So when we talk about real estate LLCs, there are some advantages here. Let's first talk about them. The main advantage to starting any kind of LLC is the separation it provides between personal and business assets. So if you are looking to purchase, sell, or rent real estate, this is an easy way to limit personal liability when making high-priced transactions, right? So we're talking about transactions that are in the hundreds of thousands of dollars. There are some disadvantages of starting a real estate LLC. If you already own the property that you want to be held by the LLC in your personal name, that will be a little complicated. In other words, you are looking to transfer personal property to the LLC. In some circumstances, you may need to sell the property to your LLC, which might come with taxes. So and you also might have to deal with the mortgage. If you have mortgage on the property, you will need to consult your lender to see whether there are any restrictions on the transfer of the property. In some circumstances, a transfer might trigger a due on sale clause, which means that you will need to pay off the remainder on the loan or face foreclosure. So there are a little bit of consequences there. By the way, boss, welcome back to the show. It's really a pleasure to have you here. Make yourself comfortable. You are going to enjoy today's conversation. So now let's talk about the steps you need to follow, the step-by-step you need to follow if you want to start. Let's say you want to form a real estate LLC. The first thing you want to do here is you need to name your real estate LLC. Now, when we talk about naming, you might be thinking, well, this is a very easy peasy. No, it can be very complicated depending on the state you're in. And some states are very strict when it comes to naming regulations. So there are three things you need to pay attention to here. When we talk about naming your real estate LLC, you got to make sure, number one, the name is available at the state level. So if your real estate LLC is going to operate in one state, in a single state, you want to make sure that name for the LLC is available at the state level. That's number one. Number two, the name must be clear enough and must be reflective enough of the goals of the LLC. In other words, if you are going to create a real estate LLC, you don't want to actually call the LLC, like you don't want to give a name that has no correlation with the real property, right? So it's all about branding. You want to make sure that your branding and the name of the real estate LLC are in sync with the purpose of the LLC itself. That's the second thing. The third element to pay attention to here has to do with single member LLC versus multi-member LLC. My question to you is, are you having a multi-member LLC? If yes, are all the members in the same state, or do you have some investors/members in other states? Because see, once you have this element, you might have a situation where you might have to pay taxes in multiple states. So this is really important. This is where we talk about a domestic LLC versus a foreign LLC, all within the context of the United States, though. So those are really important elements. So the first thing you want to do is you want to name your real estate LLC. So if you are starting an LLC to hold property, you want to choose a formal name, so last name or initials of the members, that is completely unique from any other name in existence in your state. You also need to comply with your state's guidelines for naming a business entity, which generally include having the name Limited Liability Company or one of its acronyms in your name, LLC or L.L.C. Avoiding confusion with a government entity or department, for example, NSA, IRS, or Department of Treasury, and avoiding restricted words or phrases that imply an official capacity without permission from the state, for example, university, bank, or taxation. Boss, I want to quickly remind you of today's topic. We are having a conversation about how to form a real estate LLC. So the first step is you want to name your real estate LLC. The second step is you need to choose a registered agent for your real estate LLC. This is another important element, especially because when we talk about real estate in general and real estate LLCs in particular, we are talking about an economic sector that is actually filled with a lot of risks, especially when it comes to the risk of litigation. See, those are multi-thousand dollar transaction, and when something happens, people tend to actually initiate litigation to solve problems. So you really need to have an agent, a registered agent, who can accept correspondence from the state authorities and also all the other stakeholders who might be in some kind of legal action with you. Very important. And it's one of those things you have to pay attention to, because, as I said earlier, if you are going to have multiple locations where your real estate LLC will hold property. In other words, let's say you have a real estate LLC that is registered in New York, but that LLC holds property in Jersey, holds property in California, holds property in Nevada, holds property in New Mexico, holds property in Arizona. So you have a multi-state configuration. You are going to need a registered agent in all of those states. So all states require LLCs to have a registered agent on record. So this agent is responsible for receiving important state and legal documents on behalf of the LLC. So what will happen here is that you can choose a member of the LLC to be your agent, or you can hire a registered agent service to do the job for you, right? So you can hire, for instance, Zen Business, Rocket Lawyer, LegalZoom, and so on and so forth, or even Northwest Registered Agent. Either way, the agent must be at least 18 years of age. Additionally, the individual or service must reside within the state and be easily accessible in case the LLC needs to be served legal documents, legal or regulatory documents. This is really important. Step number 3, you need to file your organization documents. So when we talk about your real estate LLC, you need to understand that your real estate LLC must be foundationally ready, must be organizationally ready. So to officially create your LLC, you will need to register your real estate LLC with the state. Usually you have to go through the Secretary of State's office. Nothing complicated. It's just a very straightforward process, but you need to do it. And so to register, you will need to file a formation document called the Articles of Organization or Certificate of Formation. And you also need to pay a filing fee. One thing I want to say here is that you only form your LLC in one state, but you can operate in multiple states. So the state where you formed your LLC originally is called your domestic. Like, this is where you are called a domestic LLC in that state. But in all the other states where you are operating, you are considered a foreign LLC. So the thing is, when we talk about the Articles of Organization, aka your Certificate of Formation, this document houses all your LLC's contact information, as well as the details about your real estate LLC that will then be on record with the state. So this is kind of important because anybody who wants to actually who wants to probe your real estate LLC's information has access to it. So journalists, your competitors, anybody, okay? And some common information you'll need to put in the documents include the name of your real estate LLC, the address of your real estate LLC, the purpose of your real estate LLC, the name and address of your registered agent, the date of formation of your real estate LLC. So again, we're talking here about very private information, but this is legally, you must make that information legally available. Okay. That's the law. There's nothing you can say about it. And you also need to put the name and address of the individual who is filing the articles of organization. So this is why a lot of real estate LLC owners or members, they just want to outsource the whole thing to a registered agent service. Boss, I want to quickly remind you of today's conversation, the topic. We are talking about how to form a real estate LLC. Step number 4, you need to create an LLC operating agreement for your real estate LLC. Let's talk about that. This is another element where you have to really go we need to go a little granular here. So while an operating agreement that I just spoke to you about earlier is only required for LLCs in few states, it is actually a best practice to have one in place, especially for a real estate LLC. And again, why? Because when we talk about real estate LLCs, we're talking about a business structure where you have colossal amounts of money that actually exchange hands, hundreds of thousands of dollars. And especially when you are in multiple states, you want to clarify everything. And an operating agreement is actually the document that allows you to clarify everything. So this agreement is a contract essentially between the members as they relate to one another and as they relate to the LLC. And I need to say one thing. Even if you are a single member LLC, you'll still want to have an operating agreement because you never know, right? What if you want to actually allow other members, little one into the LLC? At least you have already an operating agreement, and the agreement really can go as granular as possible. Everything depends on what the members want. Like, you have flexibility here. The law is not really saying, listen, you must do this, you must do it. No. The law is really fine there. So this agreement can be as detailed or as broad as the members prefer. So some common clauses in an operating agreement include the voting rights, for instance, the transfer of ownership procedure, the profit and loss distribution. So if you have a real estate LLC, you just want to have a clear idea about the profit and loss distribution, the accounting and other financial information. So especially when we're talking about a multi geography sort of a real estate LLC operation. And you want to talk about the day-to-day operations as well, the member rights and responsibilities. So those are, again, the list here is not exhaustive, but I'm just giving you a small, a small peek into what you could put into this document. The next thing you want to do here is to get an employer identification number. And see, the thing is, your real estate LLC must have an employer identification number for various reasons. Number one, this EIN allows you to actually differentiate your real estate LLC from your personal assets. So whatever assets the LLC has, you're trying to differentiate those assets from your personal assets, which is really good because you are creating a corporate veil. This is what judges look at when they look at the corporate veil. So you want to have that. And an EIN is very easy. You can just get it with the IRS. Not a problem at all. You just go online, file some paperwork. You just put in some kind of info, and you get your EIN within 5-10 minutes. In most cases, if you are really if there's a backlog, the algorithm will actually approve you within 15 minutes. Now, you will get the notification from the IRS electronically, but you will also get a notification in the mail, like via USPS snail mail, 3 weeks to 6 weeks afterwards. That way you are really, this is the official EIN letter you get from the IRS. And some banks will ask for that letter when considering opening a bank account for you, which is the second thing you need to think about. You need to get an EIN because you want your real estate LLC to be able to open a bank account, a checking account, a business checking account, a business savings account. You also want your real estate LLC to get business credit. So to get a business credit, you're going to have to, you might need in some cases to have an EIN, even though some lenders do not base their decision on the EIN, but they still want you to have it anyway. So you can use an EIN to get a business credit card for your real estate LLC. You can get a business loan. You can get a commercial real estate loan, so a CRE loan. In other words, business mortgage loan from a lender. So you can also get a net 30 vendor. So you can actually be approved for a net 30 account. So everything that revolves around net like credit, you can actually, if you have an EIN, that's really great. You can even set yourself up on Dun & Bradstreet. So Dun & Bradstreet means that you are getting a DUNS number. So again, you have a world of possibilities here. Let me give you a few pro tips before we close to this conversation. The thing is that when we talk about real estate LLCs, the question people ask is that, can you buy real estate with an LLC? Yes, definitely, absolutely. Some investors consider this the most cost-effective way to purchase and hold property without putting your personal assets at risk. And so additionally, creating your LLC before purchasing property is a good practice to avoid unexpected taxes and due on sales clauses. This is an important element. And so which state should you form your real estate LLC in? It really depends on what kinds of investments you want to make with your LLC. And so some people actually, people, when you talk about the real estate LLC tax, like let's say LLC states, people talk automatically about Wyoming, Delaware, New Mexico, but it really depends. Many investors choose to form in the state where they reside. This keeps taxes simple, especially if the LLC is the side income and the investor still holds a full-time job and will file taxes for their other job. And if you are looking to make many big ticket purchases and will be turning a quick and large profit, choose a place like Wyoming, which has no state income tax. Okay. And and the thing is, should you use an LLC for a rental property? Yes, you should actually use an LLC for a rental property. Anytime you have people on property that you own, you open yourself up to risk of a lawsuit. And whether it's through personal injury or the landlord-tenant laws in your state. So this is really an important element. So, and again, we are trying to really we're trying to really shield yourself from personal liability. So if you set things properly, if you set things the right way, you will, if something were to happen, you will basically, walk away and unscathed. And that's what you want anyway. You want, especially if it's not your fault, right? Because if it is your fault, then you have gross negligence laws that will actually hurt you. But if you even not hurt you, but apply to you. But if you are not negligent, then you can actually get away with it, quote unquote, get away with it. But the bottom line here is that in some cases, if you have like E&O, errors and negligence sort of insurance, this could cover that too. Thank you so much for your attention. I really appreciate it. In today's conversation, I was just talking to you about how to form a real estate LLC. So I gave you the overview, the steps. So the steps are, you want to name your real estate LLC, choose a registered agent, file your organization documents, create an LLC operating agreement, get an employer identification number, and I give you a few pro tips. Thank you. God bless you. I'll speak to you another time, but until then, remember, stay marvelous.